Hey everybody, in today's video, I'm going to be going through my entire OG Xbox collection, both physical and digital. Now, what you see right before you is my entire physical collection. There's about 20 games here in total, plus an additional 15 I have on my Xbox One. So that's about 35 games, which coincidentally what is almost the same number of games I got alongside my Xbox One back in 2018. In fact, it's been almost exactly 6 years to the day that I uh, got my Xbox One. Yeah, that's I've been playing on Xbox for 6 years now, and there's been some ups and downs. Game Pass is obviously the best part about it. The worst part is the fact that, well, I suppose it's the fact that we got rid of the monthly games, the free monthly games. So no more original Xbox 360, or not even Xbox One games uh, every month. Plus, Game Pass is going up, and the fact of the matter is Microsoft's not doing that well these days. Specifically, the Xbox division, they just shed like 1,900 jobs, which is really bad. And of course, that includes um, the people behind the physical games department. So there's a good chance that it's most likely that games going forward are just going to be mostly digital, which really sucks because really, what's the point of getting a physical game if it doesn't even have anything on it? That's terrible. Like, thankfully, the back compat program is like the best part. Was probably one of the best things that came out of Xbox, since it did ultimately force Sony's hand into also having bring back some of the retro games, even though the library is pretty poor. But that's enough. That's enough about what's going on. Let's actually go through some of these games here. Now, most of these games here are backwards compatible in some capacity. Um, most of them, unless mentioned, are compatible on an Xbox One, which is nice. I'm actually seriously thinking about getting all the backwards compatible games on Xbox One, since there's only about a little more than like 60. I think it's like either 63 or 68, or games in total that are backwards compatible, and I already got 15 on the Xbox One digitally, plus these ones, so plus some of these ones, that I almost have like a third or half the games already. And the only reason I'm hesitant is, of course, some of the games are titles I'm just not interested in. But anyways, let's actually get on with this. So first up, we have Jade Empire on the original Xbox. It also comes with a second disc. So this is the limited edition. Oh, sorry, this is the limited edition bonus content disc, and this is the actual disc. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have the actual case for this, but you know how it is. Getting a game without the case is usually cheaper that way. The bonus, I can confirm that only the actual game disc works. The bonus disc doesn't seem to work on the Xbox One, unfortunately. So there's that. There's that. Next up, we have Battlefield 2 Modern Combat. Yeah, this one's a bit interesting because this is the original Xbox version of the game, and the game came out on both the original Xbox and Xbox 360. And they're from what I can gather, they're actually different from one another. This was during a much different time in gaming, when it was fairly commonplace for last generation versions of games to be completely different compared to the next generation. So you basically had two games that that bear the same name, or think of it this way: the next gen version is basically a remake of that old gen version. It just so happens they released it at the same time. Now, in the case of Battlefield 2 Modern Combat, if you stick this into your Xbox One, you get the Xbox 360 version of the game, not the original Xbox version. So, yeah, if you're playing this on So regardless of whether you have the Xbox or Xbox 360 version, sticking it into an Xbox One just grants you the Xbox 360 version. So the only way to actually experience the original Xbox version is on an actual original Xbox console. I'm not sure about whether this game is backwards compatible with the Xbox 360 though. I haven't checked. I'm sure it is, but the thing about Xbox 360 backwards compatibility, um, specifically when you want to play an original Xbox game on an Xbox 360, there are issues that crop up. Like sometimes the screen goes blank, or there are graphical bugs and glitches because for the emulator isn't coded properly, or whatever. But yeah, that's Battlefield 2. Um, I'm I wouldn't mind if they, for the next Battlefield game, I'd love for them to I don't know, give us a campaign. Hopefully one that's not like Modern Warfare 3 though. I heard that campaign was really bad. So there's that. Next up we have a franchise that has kind of remained dormant, Unreal Championship 2 on the original Xbox. This was this is I'm sorry. What's it say? Oh, I never noticed this. It says Unreal Championship 2 the Landai conflict. Oh, I never noticed that. So yeah, this was made by Epic Games before, Fortnite became a thing. This was a much different time in the gaming industry. And now I have it right here. Finally, for the loose copy, I have Dead or Alive 3 Platinum Hits. This was made backwards compatible relatively recently, about 2 years ago to be more precise. And I honestly don't have much to say because I haven't actually tried to play it yet. But yeah, this was made by, I think it was, doesn't say. Oh yeah, this was made by Team Ninja and Tecmo before they became Koei Tecmo. So yeah, Dead or Alive. I think this was made by the same guy who did the Ninja Gaiden games before he fell out with the company and went on to make Devil's Third. So yeah, that's enough. That's all the loose copies. Let's actually go through the actual copies. Yeah, so we have NHL 6. This one came with my Xbox One when I got it back in 2018. This was one of the few games I got. It's not playable on the Xbox One, but I did get an Xbox 360 alongside the Xbox One when I got it back in 2018. I even did a whole video on it. And I'm pretty sure you could play this on a 360 maybe. I'm not sure. I'd have to check. 007 Everything or Nothing. Can't remember if this is playable on a 360. I'd have to check as well. But yeah, it's just a game card, and of course this was by EA Games when they had the license to make James Bond's games. Next up, this is not NHL 07. It's actually NBA Live 07. For some reason, the guy just plopped it into the NHL 07 box for some reason. Not much to say other than the fact that NBA Live is no longer around. Basically gives 2K complete dominance and allows them to do whatever they want. Next up, we have the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, the Platinum Hits copy. This is the Game of the Year edition. This is the Game of the Year edition copy. I think regardless of whether you have the normal copy or Game of the Year edition, you just get the Game of the Year edition content when you insert it into your Xbox One. A bit of me does regret getting this because of course, Bethesda is now owned by Microsoft, so the game's available on Game Pass. And plus, I got it for free on PC through some sort of, I think it was Amazon Prime. Sorry, Prime Gaming as it's called. They constantly give out free games on a regular basis. I remember actually trying this once. I couldn't get into it. Next up, we have Crimson Sky Roads to Revenge. I saw a video on this online where somebody actually hooked up an original Xbox to an Xbox 360 and an Xbox One to play a 4-player local, to have a LAN play, which was really neat. So everyone has this was a much different time in the gaming industry where people actually had to hook up two TVs together. Hook up two TVs with two consoles and use a LAN adapter to connect the consoles together. I haven't actually played this game, but I heard it's fun. I swear this guy looks like Harrison Ford. The guy on the cover looks like Harrison Ford. Oh yeah, we also have a pamphlet here for some other games. Yeah, remember when they actually gave us these? We got Grabbed by the Ghoulies, Voodoo Vince, Project Gotham Racing 2, which I think has been replaced by Forza now, and a bunch of other games here. Oh, and yeah, Crimson Sky. They even advertise the game in here. True Fantasy Live Online. Oh yeah, Phantasy Star Online. Okay. So yeah, that's Crimson Skies. Next up, we have... I'm going to do this all one after the other. We have the original Splinter Cell from 2002. Yeah. This is the Platinum Hits copy, actually. Which comes with a silver case and banner. Yeah. I'll be honest. The most I've ever played of Splinter Cell was the PC version of the game. I got a couple missions in and got stuck and had to look up how to get past that area. But yeah, I heard these games, there was a time that this franchise basically rivaled Metal Gear Solid. But of course, nowadays, both these franchises have kind of fallen off, sadly. Which is unfortunate. Now, I will say, when this franchise was at its peak in its prime, you had you had entries coming out almost every single year on a wide variety of different platforms. So I just mentioned the PC version. Well, there's also a whole bunch of other versions as well, which are a bit different. And that also applies for like Pandora Tomorrow, its immediate sequel, and Chaos Theory, which is considered one of the best games. Like, you can see it right here too. 9.9 on official Xbox magazine. It's considered one of the best stealth games of all time. Oh, geez, almost lost the disc there. Yeah, this game's... Now, with that said, it's worth mentioning that the people who made the first game did not make the second game. The second game was made by a different company. So the company that did Splinter Cell 1 did the third game, Chaos Theory, whereas the second game was done by, I think... Oh, it doesn't say. Okay, unfortunately, Ubisoft... Okay, it doesn't say, unfortunately. At least I can't see. But yeah, it was made by a different company, different developer, different team, at Ubisoft. And this culminated in Splinter Cell Double Agent in, I think, 2000... I can't remember what year, but Double Agent had two completely different versions. We had the version developed on legacy hardware, which was done by the same people who did the first and third game. But then we had the next-gen version, which was done by the same people who did Pandora Tomorrow. And from what I understand, some people actually prefer the last-gen versions more than the next-gen versions. Because of that, I seriously need to sit down and play these Splinter Cell games, which I will do in time, just not now. Star Wars: The Clone War. Okay, this one's a bit of an interesting one. I think so this is Star Wars. It's a double pack containing Star Wars: The Clone Wars and Tetris World. So on one side you have Star Wars: The Clone Wars, other side it's Tetris World, and you have two, and it's all on one disc, which I find pretty neat. 2 months free of Xbox Live. That's awfully. I mean, nowadays, yeah, that's actually really generous. That is extremely generous by today's standards. 2 months for free. So you have Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't have Tetris World on it. But then again, you really need an instruction manual for Tetris. You'll also have an advertisement for Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb on the back. Now, funny enough, if you insert this into an Xbox One, Star Wars: The Clone Wars will load up. Tetris World will not, because that one is not backwards compatible. I actually found it interesting that this disc even works, since it does contain a game that is backwards compatible, but also a game that doesn't. Next up, we have Dead or Alive 1 Ultimate. Apparently, from what I've heard, I think, yeah, it's treated as this one was made backwards compatible on the 20th anniversary of Xbox, and alongside its sequels. From what I understand, I think when this game was first released, it came bundled with 1 and 2, but Xbox backwards compatibility treats it as 2 games. As I said with Dead or Alive 3, I haven't played this, so I don't know much about it. Next up, we have a bunch of Tom Clancy games, which I recently got. Specifically, we got Rainbow Six 3, Rainbow Six 3 Black Arrow, Rainbow Six Lockdown. Yeah, okay, I'll focus on these. Yeah, we got a lot of Tom Clancy games during this era. A lot. So if we look inside, this one has the manual. I can confirm that these 3 games are not compatible on Xbox One. They are compatible on an Xbox 360, though. I can confirm that is the case, although there are some issues with split-screen multiplayer, according to Wikipedia, so keep that in mind. There's the manual. And yeah, here's Lockdown. Yeah, I had to go through a bit of mental gymnastics figuring out which version of these games to get, because some of these games, as for some of you who were old enough to know, the original Xbox version of a lot of the Tom Clancy games are vastly different from their other versions, and this is largely because the Xbox was the most powerful system of its generation, so it could do a lot of things that, say, the PlayStation 2 could not do. In fact, despite the popularity of the PS2, it was actually the weakest console aside from the Dreamcast during the 6th generation of consoles. So, yeah. If you want to go back and experience the old school Tom Clancy games, specifically Rainbow Six, Splinter Cell, I definitely recommend going for the Xbox version, since those are considered the definitive versions from a visual, technical, and gameplay standpoint. Oh yeah, I think a couple of these. Yeah, I think also. I'm pretty sure these 2 are also like exclusive to the original Xbox. I'm not too sure. I'm sure they got. I think this one's exclusive. I'm not sure about this one. And speaking of exclusivity, we finally have the last 2 physical copies I have: Ghost Recon 2 and Ghost Recon Island Thunder. Now this one's interesting because Ghost Recon 2 got released on both Xbox and PS2, and as I mentioned before, Xbox games could be a bit different than the PS2 version, and this is one of the cases where it is that I know for a fact that it is different, because in the PS2 version, it says, actually, I have it right here. Yeah, so I actually have it right here. So this is the PS2 version, and this is the Xbox version. Now, the big difference is the subtitle at the top: 2007 First Contact and 2011 Final Assault. Yeah, so these games, despite bearing the same title of Ghost Recon 2, are completely different. So if you bought it on PS2 and your friend had it on Xbox, you were getting a completely different experience. If you were somehow that guy that had both systems at the time, you got to experience uh, you got to experience Ghost Recon 2 in all of its glory. It's such a it's so fascinating to me. We had two games on the same on this in the same generation. Sorry, the same game on in the same title released in the same generation, but are fundamentally different because of because of one console's hardware limitations. So yeah, I've only tried like a couple minutes into these games. So I can't really tell you how good any of them are, aside from the fact that they are, nearly 20-year-old games, so they're very dated. Just so if you go in with a certain mindset, you can probably enjoy them. But yeah, that's Ghost Recon 2. And then we have the final game here, Ghost Recon Island Thunder, which is a spin-off of the first Ghost Recon game, or an add-on expansion. I'm not sure, but but much like Ghost Recon 2 previously, this one's an interesting case because we have Ghost Recon Jungle Storm, which was exclusive to PS2. But the difference. So what's the difference? Well, the difference is that the PS2 version um, contains all the missions from Island Thunder plus a bunch of new ones. So so even though the Xbox is a much more powerful system, the PS2 version has the most amount of content. Now it's called Now obviously it has two different titles, but the PS2 version is basically just Island Thunder, just with extra content, and that's basically it. So yeah, that's a very interesting. It's a very interesting thing that Ubisoft did back in those days, where they gave you like two different games on the same in the same generation. That is something that you don't see nowadays. As all games, as pretty much every game nowadays is just usually a scaled down version of another of scaled down version of another port of the game. I'm sorry. If you're playing the game on like consoles, often the game is just the scaled down version of the PC version. Case in point, Cyberpunk 2077, or say the Nintendo Switch version of every multi-platform games. So yeah, that does it for my physical collection. Let's actually move over to my Xbox and we can take a look at all my digital collection. All right, guys. So here we are on my Xbox One, and here are all the games that I have, thanks to Xbox Games with Gold. So first up, we have Thrillville, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Live and Reloaded. Live and Reloaded. Yeah, this is actually this is actually a port of a Nintendo 64 game. The developers. The reason it's on Xbox is because Microsoft ended up buying Rare, so they basically brought over a bunch of their games, including Conker's Bad Fur Day. The Live and Reloaded version, a lot of people say, is worse than the N64 because they censor a lot of the swear words. But we'll see. I mean, sometimes censoring the swear words is actually funnier than actually saying it. Now, there's also the version on Rare Replay. I don't know if that's based on the N64 original or just based on the Xbox version. I'll have to look into that. Next up we have Breakdown, Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb, Full Spectrum Warrior, Sphinx and the what's it called? Sphinx and the Cursed Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy. And we also, next up we have Red Faction 2, MX Unleashed, Destroy All Humans, which recently got a remake published by Embracer Group, which, for those of you unaware, is doing pretty badly these days because they basically expanded too quickly, too fast. Sorry, they expanded too quickly. Next up we have Star Wars Battlefront, Star Wars Jedi Starfighter, Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original Battlefronts, I should mention, not the EA developed ones. I really wish they didn't just use the same titles though. It's kind of confusing. Next up, Star Wars Republic Commando, which recently got ported. Most of the Star Wars games recently got ported, I should mention, because apparently the company Aspyr, which is also owned by Embracer Group, they've went back and republished these games. I don't know how they did that, considering that EA has the license, technically had the exclusive license, but apparently I guess it didn't apply to these games. Next up we have Star Wars Jedi Academy. And finally, Mercenaries Playground of Destruction. And I got all these 15 through, I own them, thanks to Games with Gold. The thing about Games with Gold is that when they were giving out the Xbox 360 and original Xbox games, those games, because the Xbox 360 system was did not support the renting subscription services, like renting games. They basically just had to give it to you. That's why I own these now, because they didn't want to go back and figure out a way to make it so that these games are only available to you if you're subscribed to Games with Gold, Xbox Live Gold, or Game Pass Ult or Game Pass. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, for my collection and this video. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. What your experience with the Xbox was, because I never actually owned the Xbox console ever. But as always, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Thank you, and goodbye.